We're talking about 4 reasons validation stops working, and one of them has been etched into our nervous systems over millions of years. But with these insights, you can refine your validation skills and show up stronger for your relationship. So let's get into it. The first reason emotional validation fails is that we don't recognize what it accomplishes, so we lose our benefit too quickly. Imagine you and I are working together to build a birdhouse. You ask me for the glue to connect the walls, but I hand you a paintbrush. That doesn't help in the moment. The truth is that both are needed to build that birdhouse, but they accomplish different tasks at different times in the process. I think it's important to know that validating emotions will not help you win an argument. Validation doesn't help you make your point more clearly or get your partner to be more logical. Sure, you may want those things, but validation isn't the tool for this moment. It's important in other ways, just like that coat of paint on the birdhouse helps protect it from the elements, but does you little good if the birdhouse is not structurally sound. Validation creates a container of sorts, a space where both of you can feel safe to have your emotions without fear of being fundamentally rejected as a person. Validation is not a truth container, it's an acceptance container. So saying something like, I understand you're upset and respect your right to feel that way, or I see this is hard for you, what do you want me to know? This sends a message that's foundationally important for a secure relationship. You're not doing anything to forward your own agenda in that moment. These are not fact-based statements and questions, and you may not get accurate facts in response to them. It acknowledges that while feelings by definition are not rational, you're going to hold space for them anyway. You're going to accept your partner even in a moment when neither of you may be at your best. That's the glue in the relationship birdhouse. The psychology of validation brings this into focus. If you look at early cultural histories, one of the most brutal outcomes in a tribe or village is being cast out or shunned. Why? Because this probably means death. In some cultures, the ultimate rejection is that they never say your name again, which means you cease to exist. In the modern world, we rarely have such extreme experiences in our social circles. But in a relationship, which is the primary family for many, that kind of annihilation of the self can come in many forms. There may not be an actual shunning and not an actual death, but unconditional acceptance from the people you love most isn't just a want. That's a need, and not getting it registers in the nervous system as a kind of cancellation. So validation is our antidote to that. Nobody is going to be able to resolve a difference in a rational way if their subconscious feels fundamentally rejected by their life partner. Do they worry they're actually going to die or cease to exist? Well, we hope not. But on a subconscious level, acceptance of our feelings is fundamental to maintaining security in the relationship. Validation helps us sustain that firm base. You can work out the details later. The second reason emotional validation stops working is we think validation is the same as giving in. It's not, and here's why. Validation does not exist at the factual data level of a disagreement. It lives at the emotional and acceptance level. And this is where good conflict management exists. Now, if you're thinking, yeah, but when my partner focuses on things I don't believe are true or falsely accuses me, it just pisses me off. I'm not going to validate that. I get it. To be clear, I am not in any way suggesting that you should accept alternative facts in an argument. And yes, big emotions can lead us to believe some things that don't end up being accurate or true because our brains can lie to us. All accepted and agreed to. But I hear that you're angry and I respect your right to feel that way is in no way the same as I admit that I caused your anger. Just a reminder from a therapist's perspective, feelings don't need a reason, they just are. And by that logic, they really don't need a good reason. I know this may be hard to swallow for some of you, so stay with me here. The hill I will die on, hopefully no time soon, is the hill of owning our own stuff. This means our actions and words are ours, and nobody else is responsible for them. We are. But this also means our emotions live inside of us, and we're responsible for those too. Feelings are sacrosanct, but that doesn't give us license to say or do whatever we want in response to them. So if my partner is sad, angry, or whatever, I can't control that. And it's not for me to decide how they feel about any given situation. They have agency and have full ownership of those feelings, whether I like it or not. Now, if my partner is angry and I don't like that, I have a few options. I can say, don't be mad. You don't get to be mad. Now who's being irrational? That's just me trying to control something that's not mine to control. And saying that just undermines the security and respect in the relationship. But if I can say something like, I get that you're angry, what's going on? I'm neither making unreasonable demands, nor am I saying you're right and I'm wrong. I'm just asking what's going on. If she responds by justifying her anger with the belief I did something I didn't do, an accusation, I have another fork in the road. I can argue the point, which probably inflames the situation. Or I can ask more questions. I can affirm that if that were the case, I could understand how she might be angry. None of that is admitting guilt or conceding the point. It's all about holding her feelings in that acceptance container. Now, this requires me to be strong about something. I have to be able to hear a false accusation without losing my control. If a false accusation sends you into a tailspin, remember, you're responsible for your own feelings. So if that blows you up, that's about you, not about them. I won't pretend this is easy. Being present with your partner's big feelings and false accusations can be really hard. But just because they say something doesn't make it true. If the goal is to win the argument, well, those people have probably already clicked off this video and left a nasty comment. If the goal is to find peace and build connection, sometimes we have to be willing to tolerate each other when we're not at our best. This is what unconditional acceptance looks like. Which brings us to number 3. Remember that thing I said a few minutes ago about how feelings are sacrosanct, but they're not justification for saying or doing whatever you want in response to them? I really believe that. And the third reason validation stops working is when we don't get that. We think validation means we can't have good boundaries. I just don't believe that's true. The relationship advice for men I hear on YouTube gets pretty toxic on many channels. Dude bros who say things like, you just have to be the strong leader, when they mean you should never admit fault. Or people who say caring about your partner's feelings isn't the way to save a relationship. I'll be polite and say that as a licensed counselor who's been helping couples for over a decade, I respectfully disagree. Look, I get it. Things can get heated in an argument. And when the fight part of fight or flight takes over, things can get said that are pretty hurtful. I know every relationship has different rules of engagement on these things, and it's important that you both know each other's line in the sand. This is where boundaries become really important. And let me be clear, validating an emotion is not the same as poor boundaries. I'll be honest, I have a pretty high bar when it comes to being respectful in a disagreement, and so does my partner. So many people who could see our disagreements might think they're pretty tame. I'm okay with that because it works for us. Whatever the conflict style is in your relationship, I'm a fan of setting and understanding boundaries. Big feelings and strong disagreement doesn't mean it's open season on saying or doing whatever you want. Relationships are co-created, and so is the peace between you. So make room in your brain for both of these things to be true. Number 1, I acknowledge your right to your big feelings. And number 2, I'm not okay with being called that name when you're mad at me, and I'm setting a boundary here. These can ride alongside each other. Remember talking about that container earlier? The best containers have strong walls, good boundaries. So I don't believe you have to choose. Sometimes it takes practice, and if blurry boundaries are a pattern in your relationship, that may be an ongoing conversation. But validation and boundaries are apples and oranges, completely different things that can coexist. Now, those flare-ups that get pretty heated are also a big part of the 4th reason validation stops working. When you get too angry and go into fight or flight, you stop using this tool. Hell, you might not even think about conflict management and de-escalation at this point because you're in fight or flight. It's actually more complex than that, fight, flight, or freeze. I did another video on the psychology of emotional shutdown. You can check that one out up here. But here's the thing, when you're in fight, flight, or freeze, what we call nervous system dysregulation, the analytical part of your brain tends to go offline. The ancient tiger fighting, antelope hunting part leaps into action, and it's not very long before you're in full-on caveman mode. We've all been there. So emotional validation is a skill that relies to some extent on your ability to analyze the situation and make choices, to think on your feet. That's in direct conflict with nervous system dysregulation, which uses the fastest patterns in your brain to react quickly to that tiger. So when you're dysregulated, validation probably isn't on the menu. It's not just that you can't validate in this moment. It may also be that the part of your brain that filters your speech, the part that says, wait, don't say that, that part's offline. So learning to regulate is a pretty crucial skill. That's another video too, but learning some calming techniques can go a long way to bringing your caveman brain back into the Star Trek era. If any of these 4 feel familiar to you, do me a favor and leave a comment down below. That helps this video find others who need it. Okay, so what can we do about all this? Now, I'm a counselor, but I'm not your counselor, so don't take this as advice about what you should do in your own relationship. Think of these as strategies I'm teaching you about, and you can decide if they make sense to you. This is education, not advice. To begin with, you can choose not to give up. Emotional validation is a skill, so by definition, it's something you can practice. You can learn it, you can get better at it. It may also mean you kind of suck at it when you're first trying to learn it. Like any skill, it takes time to improve. The best things in life take effort, and emotional validation is worth knowing how to do, so hang in there. Your partner needs time to adjust to, even in those moments when you do it well. Remember, every relationship has a kind of homeostatic balance to it, a way of being. Learning to validate emotions isn't just learning a new skill. It's an effort to reset the homeostatic balance in your relationship. You're trying to relate differently. Because relationships are co-created, you're both involved in how this goes. So give your partner time to adapt. Talk about what you're working on in times of calm so they understand better. Even good changes can feel uncomfortable if you don't see what's happening. So plan ahead on this. Remember, feelings aren't fact, but they are crucially important. They just don't accomplish what you think they accomplish. For more discussion on this, check out my next video where I'm going to do a deep dive into this very topic. Be sure to subscribe and notifications to catch that one right when it comes out. Okay, friends, thanks for being here. Until next time, be well.